Give me a pimp story. I'm a big pimp fan, man. So give me a pimp story.
I got about pimp.
Gotta get it.
Pimp and Bun. All right. One of my favorite songs too. We made Break You Off Something.
Man, I love that song.
Down south, legends don't just travel, they stalk the highways like ghosts. Some are noisy, some are messy, but few hit as hard as the Cold War between Master P and Pimp C. Two builders with different blueprints, both obsessed with respect, both allergic to backing down. The collab that should have glued the South together instead cracked it open. Money, credit, pride, and a phone call that turned a business move into a blood-hot grudge. By the end, the rumors got so loud they dragged in the quiet power behind the curtain. This isn't a diss tape, it's a map of how ego and empire collide, and why the ending still makes fans argue today. Master P didn't wait on permission. He set up his own table and invited himself to the feast. Sell out the trunk, stack the cash, own the music, control the pipeline, turn that hustle into a doctrine and stamp it with 2 words: no limit. It wasn't just branding, it was a system. Release after release, week after week, like a convoy rolling through the neighborhood with headlights on. The covers shouted, the beats marched, the message was the same: no one is outworking us.
I paid for lawyers, all these other people, man. I love you, see. Well, pay for my lawyer. You know, me and my brother gonna get into it. We've been doing that. Let me tell you, C was a wild boy.
300 miles west, UGK was building a different palace with different bricks. Pimp C didn't just rap. He composed, he arranged, he tuned the South until it hummed. Church organs, soulful keys, thick bass, and drums set low, like the car was squatting. He called it country rap tunes, a sound born from Texas soil and syrup-thick nights. Beside him, Bun B's baritone locked everything in place, steady as a steel beam. If No Limit taught independence like a classroom, UGK made it feel like Sunday service in a garage with the door open. Putting those worlds together felt inevitable. One side was a distribution machine that could move anything. The other was a sound so rooted it could grow anywhere. On paper, it looked simple. You mix muscle with soul, and you take the whole map. That was the plan. Until the plan met pride. 1996, Break 'em Off Somethin. The title said it, the track proved it. It was loud, unruly, and impossible to ignore. It blasted out of car systems and corner stores, out of New Orleans, across Texas, and beyond.
I read Pimp C book, Pimp C got pistol whooped because Pimp C was dissing him. Because at the time, Pimp C made that beat for Master P, Break 'em Off Something. And Pimp C felt like he should have been like giving him money, like looking out more.
For Master P, it confirmed the tank could roll outside Louisiana. For UGK, it was proof Texas flavor could season a national plate without losing any heat. The hook bit, the verses barked, the beat stomped like a crowd. When the echo died down, the counting started. And counting always brings questions. Who brought what? Who carried the bounce? Who expanded the reach? Who deserved which slice? Fans hear music, business sees splits. In the daylight, everyone is smiling. In the back rooms and long drives, different conversations unfold. Some would say Pimp felt the credit didn't match the chemistry, that the beat, the hook, the swing, and that Texas drag gave the song its heartbeat, but the numbers didn't show it. Others say, listen, this is how big operations work. The engine needs fuel, and fuel costs. In a machine, you don't argue with the odometer, you keep moving. Truth lives where you were standing when the money changed hands.
Boy, he don't listen. He was just telling you. He just talking. And you were like, okay, you just listening.
And that man was having a conversation with me one time, and out the blue, he flipped the whole conversation.
What's undeniable is this. Success created a shadow, and in that shadow, small slights can grow fangs. And then a phone call made it personal. The call started like plenty of calls do. A session needed to happen, a fee was set, the schedule mattered. The voice on the other side was Mama Wes, Weslyn Monroe, the force field around Pimp C's time. She was gatekeeper and guardian, and everyone knew it. Master P wanted Pimp down in Baton Rouge, but Pimp was already locked in. Same fee, different artist. Where they came from, your word was the contract. No slipping. No, but my project is bigger. No, just this one time. That's the moment where stories start splitting. What everyone agrees on is that the conversation got heated. It moved from calendar logistics to tone and urgency. And somewhere in the push and pull, something got said that felt like a line crossing. Maybe it was an edge in the voice. Maybe it was a sentence that landed left. Master P allegedly called back later, tried to smooth it out, tried to push the session to the next day. But sometimes, once you scrape respect, it doesn't buff out. especially when the person on the other end is a mother who built her son's path foot by foot.
The song is not about Master P. I want to let y'all know that he called the dude name out. He called the dude name is one. If you listen to the song here clearly, he called the guy's name out.
From that day, Pimp didn't treat it like scheduling anymore. He treated it like a bruise. And in his world, bruises talk. On stage, he started sharing his side. He told crowds about disrespect. He held up respect like a courtroom exhibit. The shows got louder, the chants caught fire. You didn't need to speak Texas slang to understand the message. Once fans see a line, they pick a side. Business grievances had turned into a public burden, and both camps adjusted their armor. Pimp never needed a press release. He had verses. He'd lace a line about fake hustlers, a line about men trying to control his clock, a line about family. If you knew, you knew. And if you were from the places that raised him, you definitely knew. He wasn't writing subpoenas. He was writing songs. But the subtext hit like paperwork stapled to a door.
I didn't hear the song until I was actually in New York in the studio. We were talking in the office. They actually had just got in like 100 pair of Rockefeller Air Force Ones.
Okay.
But I didn't really wear Air Force Ones. We wore Cortez. We wore guys tonight. So they offered me the shot. Like, nah, I'm good. I had to determine that I was finna get on this record and do some of the best rapping.
Master P didn't have to name anyone either. He had a different weapon, scale. The No Limit rollout became its own kind of clapback. The tank logo wasn't just art, it was intimidation. The cadence of releases felt like boot steps. The features stacked, the packaging screamed that the army was always in formation. Without saying a name, the message was clear. We're too big to bother, too organized to bleed. The songs marched. The visuals shouted. The machine didn't argue, it advanced. This is where the South split into dialects. Texas heard the coded pain and called it honesty. Louisiana heard the unstoppable movement and called it discipline. Two versions of dominance, same frequency of pride. And then the whispers got darker. Stories that still divide rooms when they're retold. Folklore in the South doesn't sit on shelves, it walks around. The hotel story is one of those tales that arrives with fog around it.
Me and Kale talked about that, dude. I got excited,
Why is that your favorite song?
So it's my favorite song because of what it says, what it represents, the feeling of it, and the actual way it was put together.
Okay.
Me and Pete jump in the car, bam.
The way some retell it, Pimp was working at a Sugarland spot while his usual downtown hotel was booked. Late night, door forced, masked men inside. In certain versions, Master P was there, keeping his hands clean with gloves, turning a warning into welts. In other versions, it's separate. A call travels to Houston, looking for a green light on something final. The reply from the quiet power is immediate and cold. No. Shut it down. Not happening. What's critical here is how we hold it. These are allegations, accounts, secondhand memories from people who loved Pimp, who worked with P, who were in rooms but not necessarily that room. The stories live in interviews, in whispered recaps, in the places where hip-hop keeps oral history. They're unverified, but they still shape how fans feel, because fear has gravity, and rumor, if it's heavy enough, leaves dents. Whether you believe the hotel story or the phone to Houston moment, the effect was the same. The tension stopped being about music and started living in people's guts. The beef felt less like an argument and more like a weather system. While the streets argued about myths, real life smashed down on Pimp C like a cinder block. 2002 hit like a wrong turn. You can't reverse. An 8-year sentence tied to an aggravated incident and probation issues dropped. And it felt like the air got sucked out of the room. The South went quiet for a heartbeat. Then the words appeared everywhere at once. Free Pimp C. T-shirts, mixtapes, stage shouts, messages at shows from artists across the country. It wasn't performative, it was protective. Fans weren't just supporting music. They were shielding a man they felt represented them. Outside, the slogan became ritual. DJs laced his tags into late-night sets, and promoters left space in lineups like an empty chair at a family table. Bun B turned motion into mission. Features, interviews, city after city, keeping UGK present without pretending the gap wasn't there. It wasn't nostalgia, it was stewardship.
I see up after I beat him up when we was little. Because he gonna get a gun or a knife or something. You know what I'm saying? I had to tie him up to my protect himself. Yeah, I gotta protect my look. I gotta make sure I tie him up because till my parents come.
Inside, Pimp refused soft corners. He stayed in general population. He made a stand with his presence. which is a loud statement in a place designed to turn people into numbers. He became a folk hero, the kind who reminds people that somebody from their streets could command a national stage and not bend. But hero status doesn't carry you through concrete. Paranoia doesn't need much sunlight to grow. Time inside has a way of replaying every slight, every rumor, every look. Letters replace sessions. Quick calls cut off mid-thought, replace studio marathons. Pimp wrote, he planned, he stewed, he dreamed, he hardened. He also got specific. Names he wanted to call first, producers to tap, a tone to set. Texas soul with a sharper edge, less patience for politics. If the free world was moving fast, he countered by getting exact, building a quiet checklist only he could see. By the time the gates opened in December 2005, the man who walked out was carrying scars you couldn't photograph. He had pride in one hand and patience in the other. The chant had kept his name warm. Now it was his turn to heat the room. And he had decisions to make. What he did next surprised people who expected fireworks. Instead of marching straight toward old enemies with a bullhorn, Pimp started closing circles. The accounts from that period paint a quiet picture. He walked up to P, looked him in the eye, and owned his part. No cameras, no press run, no theater. Just a simple disarming line. He'd been battling demons. The way some family tell it, P was one of the first calls after release. A conversation happened that let the temperature fall. Sometimes a grown man's apology does more than 100 records. That moment mattered because of what it signaled to everyone orbiting them. It wasn't a surrender, it was a code check. Man to man, respect restored to the center of the room.
Because P had got his deal and P was making a lot of money and he was like, man, since I help you, you should help me out. Because you know, back in the day in 95, they did Down South Hustlers.
Yeah.
And the song that was really big on that album was Players from the South Stack G's. So when Pimp felt, a certain way or whatever, he would went to diss and No Limit a lot.
People close to both sides felt the shift immediately. Phone lines got quieter, show promoters exhaled, DJs stopped poking at old wounds for crowd reaction. You could feel the region relax a notch, like a door chain sliding loose. It didn't erase anything. It didn't rewrite timelines or replace rumors with affidavits. But it did something better. It made space. In that space, the what-ifs started blooming again. You could picture what fans always wanted. These two giants building something outrageous together. A record that felt like a handshake. A hook that sounded like a bridge over old fire. Quiet talk bubbled about how to line it up the right way. Keep it simple, keep it southern. Let the music speak first. Producers floated ideas that spliced Texas soul with that relentless no-limit knock. Nothing on paper, nothing forced. Just possibility moving through the room. Peace is a project. You have to maintain it. It needs small favors, kept promises, and tone you can't hear on a balance sheet. And time is the meanest A&R in the industry. And time ran out. December 2007 took Pimp C at 33. A tragic ending. The official word tied it to a mix that the streets knew too well, paired with a condition that stole breath in the night. The specifics were clinical. The grief wasn't. It felt unfair, like someone cut the final verse from the master. The South lost a voice that didn't just rap, it tuned the entire band. The ripple was immediate. Port Arthur mourned like a family. Houston moved like a city that understood exactly what it had lost. DJ stitched his voice into late-night sets. Younger artists started referencing his cadences, his ad-libs, the way he bent melodies without ever getting soft. You could hear his fingerprints in the organs, in the swing of the drums, in the way hooks got sung with a little grit on the edges. Bun B carried the flag without making it a spectacle, turning stages into memorials and interviews into classrooms. The message stayed the same: respect the foundation and build something sturdy on top. Since then, the debate hasn't gone quiet. It never will. The questions circle like crows over a highway. Was the original wound about money or respect? Did the phone moment matter more than any invoice? Was the hotel story real, or a chain of rumors hardened by repetition? Did the call to Houston even happen, or did the legend overtake the facts? These aren't idle questions. They shape how fans choose heroes, how they mourn, how they reframe a whole era of Southern rap. Here's what nobody argues. Master P built a system that taught independence like a crash course. Own the work, control the routes, feed your people. It wasn't perfect, but it fed families and changed how artists thought about power. Pimp C built a sound you can still touch, alive in the organs, the slaps, the low-end swing that makes cars rock at red lights. Together, they could have written a book on how to win without asking. Apart, they wrote a different book, how how pride doesn't dissolve in success, it multiplies. And that's the tension people still feel. On one side, the spreadsheet, the math of units, schedules, fees, and leverage. On the other, the code, the math of respect, credit, promises, and tone. The South keeps its myths not because they're convenient, but because they protect the parts of the story that the charts can't track. Respect matters down there in a way outsiders rarely understand. It's currency, it's armor. It's the reason a scheduling call can mutate into a scar. It's why a city will chant a name just to prove a point. It's why people still argue about a night in Sugarland and a call to a man known for making final decisions without raising his voice. So what do we do with a legend that splits the room? We handle it carefully. We say what's verified, and we clearly label what's rumor. We sit with the uncomfortable truth that sometimes the stories we can't prove still guide how people live, work, and fight. We honor the music and the machinery, the art and the empire, because both were necessary for the South's rise. And we admit that the tightrope between principle and profit is where most great artists learn to balance or fall. If anything endures, it's this. The music still knocks, the blueprint still feeds people, and the lesson still stands. Handle respect like it's your last dollar, because once it's gone, everything gets expensive. In the end, both men wanted the same thing, respect you don't have to ask for. One built systems to command it. One wrote records that demanded it. When those visions touched, the spark lit up the region. When they clashed, the heat almost burned it down. Was their peace permanent or just a truce signed with the clock? That's your call. Drop your take. Tell me if you think the wounds ever truly closed or if they just healed enough to keep moving. And if this story grabbed you, share it with someone who still blasts country rap tunes. Hit that like button and keep it locked for more tales that live between the headlines and the truth.